Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another traditional draft of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. We've got a pretty sweet opening pack here with a ton of powerful options. 3 premium commons between Uruk-hai Berserker, Smite the Deathless, and Mordor Muster. Some great uncommons between Rosy Cotton and the Uruk-hai Captain. And a great rare with War of the Last Alliance. This isn't like a bomb rare or a super great one, but I think it probably is the best card to start with out of this pack by a little bit. It's one of the mono-colored cards, so it doesn't tie us to a specific archetype, and there are tons of strong legendaries in the format. So it's 4 mana to tutor out 2 legends, and then give your whole board double strike and have the Ring Tempt You. Just a lot of value for only 4 mana, even if it takes some time for all of those abilities to trigger. So I'm going to take the War of the Last Alliance there and start with that. Pack 1, pick 2 now. We see Claim the Precious. One of the best commons in the whole format. Definitely the best removal spell. Only 3 mana to destroy any creature, and the Ring Tempts You. So you get that ring leveling up. Also March from the Blackgate, which is an excellent uncommon. Saruman's Trickery for a fantastic counterspell. I think it's going to be one of the black cards here between March from the Blackgate and Claim the Precious, and I really like the Claim the Precious. So I'm just going to roll with that here. Pack 1, pick 3. This is not the Great Horn. The Horn of Gondor is almost unbeatable. Card's absolutely absurd. Horn of the Mark is just okay. Certainly not something I want to pack 1, pick 3 here. We can take a Lash of the Balrog if I want to stick to black here, or Rosy Cotton sticking to white, or Relentless Rohirrim for a great value common. I think I'm going to go for the Rosy Cotton. It works really well with the War of the Last Alliance, where we have a legend to search up with it, and there are tons of tokens that we can produce in the format to make Rosy a very powerful card, either by making 1/1 human tokens, or just by making more food tokens. She becomes a pretty nice engine to get a bunch of +1/+1 counters on the board. I'll take the Rosy. Pick 4 now. We've got not a lot. Not a lot. A pretty empty pack overall. There's a Warbeast of Gorgoroth, which is okay in red. Dreadful as the Storm's an okay blue combat trick since the Ring Tempts You. Overall, kind of a miss here. I guess I just take an Inherited Envelope in case we need to do some splashing later. Pack 1, pick 5. I like Haunt of the Dead Marshes a lot in any deck with a decent legendary count or a decent amount of the Ring Tempting You. And our deck is definitely going to have a good amount of legends with War of the Last Alliance in it, so take the Haunt here if we end up in black-white. That'll be quite good. Scry when it hits the board, reanimate it pretty easily. Passing up on Tom Bombadil, which is a fun card, a cool card, but you need to have a ton of sagas and be in 5 colors to get Tom Bombadil to do anything crazy, and that is tremendously restrictive. That'll almost never happen. Okay, Knife Wound is not great, Second Breakfast is not great, so I don't like the on-color cards. My favorite off-color card is Pelargir Survivor. I think this is great in almost every blue deck, because all the blue decks in this format that I like are the ones that are very heavily focused on spells, so they cast a lot of instants and sorceries, where this is great mana fixing and ramp. So I'll take a Pelargir Survivor. Pack 1, pick 7. Bunch of nonsense again. Improvised Club's solid in red. Hobbit Sting's okay if we have a really high creature count. Nasty End could be okay for some card draw in our black-white deck. I don't love any of this. I'll just take a Nasty End here to go with our Haunt of the Dead Marshes, I guess. Pick 8. Nothing great out of white, but in black we do get a Ungol Patrol. The 4/5 that can sack a creature, turn it into a food, and draw a card. Pretty great value. The only issue with the card is that it's a 5 mana creature and you don't have a lot of room for 5 drops, so it is somewhat replaceable just because you can't have a high quantity of 5 mana cards, but it's a perfectly solid one. So I'll take it here. Pick 9, there's an East Farthing Farmer, which is fine with cards like Rosy Cotton that want to produce a lot of tokens, and a Sam's Desperate Rescue, which is fine with a bunch of ways for the ring to tempt us. We've got 2 ways for the ring to tempt us already. This would be our 3rd, and if we get any creatures that make the ring tempt us when they enter the battlefield, Desperate Rescue gets even better. So I'll take the Desperate Rescue here and try to take any future Uruk-hai Berserkers really highly. We only saw 1 out of this draft, and we took a War of the Last Alliance over it, so I think that's fine. Take a Dundane Blade or an Escape. I don't love either of these. I'll take the escape because we don't have to draft around it for it to be playable. It'll just be our very medium, like 23rd playable card as our one combat trick. We got to get a lot of creatures. In some future packs here, we're pretty low on creatures. I guess we play the soldier for now, but I'm not excited about it. Okay, just keep cutting white now, because we're looking pretty connected to black and white as the core of this deck. Could always change if we open up an incredible off-color rare, but for the most part, I think we'll be in these colors. All right, pack 2, pick number 1. 2 cards really competing, Rosy Cotton, which works really well with our War of the Last Alliance again, giving us another legend, or Dawn of a New Age, which is great if you can get a really high creature count, which is something our deck already wants to do with Rosy Cotton, but something that our deck is currently very bad at. We have like 3 creatures total. I'm going to take the Dawn of a New Age anyway, and we are really hoping to jam a bunch of creatures in our pack too. And now there's an Errand Rider of Gondor I've got to pass up on for a Frodo, which is excellent in black-white because you can actually use all the abilities, try to get to level 4 of the ring and just kill somebody with Frodo, which is super cool. But even just at level 2, where Frodo's a 2/3 lifelinker, it's a pretty fantastic ring bearer. So we'll take the Frodo here. It's also incredible with War of the Last Alliance as another legend. So, sad to pass up on an Errand Rider of Gondor. I would very happily play that card, and I don't think it'll be coming back because anybody in white is going to scoop that up. But I think Frodo is worth it. Another Haunt of the Dead Marshes seems super reasonable. Definitely a lot better than the Cavalier, the Trebuchet. Everything else is pretty filler. Minas Tirith is very good, but you have to be attacking with 2 or more creatures each turn, which is going to be a problem for our deck right now. I guess I should still probably take this over the Haunt, but I'm making a lot of picks hoping to get a lot of creatures. Here's a Westfold Rider. We got to get those cheap creatures first. Just jam that in here. All creatures all day. Let's go. Another Westfold Rider. Come on in. Starting to get there. Starting to look a little more reasonable. Well, these Westfold Riders are really good with Sam's Desperate Rescue as well. So if we top deck a Desperate Rescue later in the game when our opponent has to go to Artifact or Enchantment on board, then like we're really likely to have a Westfold Rider in the grave because they're so easy to die with only 1 toughness. So adds to the flexibility of a late game Desperate Rescue where we can pick up like a big creature or we can just blow up one of their artifacts or enchantments if we need to. I'm kind of interested in Great Hall of the Citadel. With War of the Last Alliance to search up any legend, we could grab like a really powerful off-color legend with Great Hall. Probably supposed to be Esquire the King because I still need to grab a lot of creatures, but I'm going to take Great Hall here, and Reprieve is another great option. But I think War of the Last Alliance with Great Hall of the Citadel is actually pretty spicy, pretty interesting. And we do have a Wizard's Rockets that we could play as well if we get a really powerful off-color legend. That way we've got 2 different ways to cast it. Alright, I regret to inform you that Sharky is not a very powerful legend. Sharky's a 4-mana 2/4. That's basically it. So we take the East Farthing from her because I need creatures that badly to take it over Desperate Rescue. Protector of Gondor is like the perfect creature in here with the Rosy and the Dawn of a New Age. Just getting 2 creatures off 1 card, especially when 1 is a token. It's very valuable for us. Now we can take a 2-drop Cavalier or another Ungol Patrol. I'd love to take Ambush, but I gotta just take creatures here. Ambush is much better than Cavalier, but I'm still gonna take Cavalier to get more 2-mana creatures. Black Breath is great in the sideboard. Orcish Medicine's a fine trick. Not super duper pumped about this pack. I think I will just take a Black Breath. Another Cavalier. Alright, we're getting there. 4 2-mana creatures, 2 1-mana creatures. Starting to look really reasonable. We could have a very real deck of Magic cards, depending on what we get pack 3. Because we end up cutting the envelope, wizard's rockets, maybe the Great Hall if we don't find something to splash in, and then just put in some better creatures, put in some better removal, and this turns into a pretty sick looking deck. We'll see. Ooh, last pick, we get the Esquire, so I'm very happy I didn't draft that. Alright, well, we found something that's going to make us splash in here. I guess Gothmog's really nice. We don't have to splash Gothmog, but Eowyn is ridiculous. If your opponent has a creature on board with more than 3 power, then Eowyn hits the board, exiles their best creature, and that's just it. It's just gone forever. Even if Eowyn dies, they don't get their creature back. Plus you get a 3/4 haste while you do that. Eowyn's a ridiculous 2-for-1. I'm actually really sad we opened her up in a pack with Gothmog, because Gothmog's good enough that Gothmog's maybe supposed to be the pick over Eowyn. If we had no Gothmog here, this pick would be so easy. I guess I'll just take Gothmog. Gothmog's very similar in power level. 4 mana, you get a 3/3 and a 1/1 Death Touch. You don't proactively exile their big thing, but your 1/1 Death Touch can just block and kill it. Now we get another Claim the Precious. Again, Eowyn is stronger than Gothmog, but not by a large enough margin, I think, to take the card that requires a bunch of fixing. This way we still get a really strong card out of that pack, and we don't have to use fixing for it. And they're both legends too, so they both work with War of the Last Alliance. There were just a lot of things going for Gothmog to be a very reasonable pickup. Take a Protector of Gondor since we have double claim for removal. I would like a little more removal than this, but Protector of Gondor, as I said last pack, is just like the perfect creature for this deck. And creatures that aren't include Soldier of the Grey Host, which I'm going to cut now. Ideally, probably cut the Snarling Warg as well. Keep this curve, though. Still want like 3 more creatures. Probably end up cutting the mana fixing, but I'll remember that we have it if we find any good cards. I'm going to cut Minas Tirith just so I can see the number of non-land cards, but we will definitely be playing that. So we're at 22, so I still got to put something else in here. I guess I'll put the Warg back in for now. Okay, another Warg, another Esquire of the King, another Soldier, or another 2-drop Legend. This doesn't really have any abilities that matter for the most part in this deck. We don't have a lot of Goblins or Orcs. We don't have a lot of Amass, which is what really works with this. But it is a 2-mana 2/2 legendary creature, so if we just need a 2-mana 2/2 off of War of the Last Alliance, we can grab one. And if we have Haunt the Dead Marshes, boom, we've got a Legend on board. We have an Esquire, boom, we've got a Legend on board. I'll take the 2-drop here. Now I'll cut a Slip on the Ring. Now I'll take a Mordor Muster for another great 2-drop. This one works excellent with Rosy Cotton. And Gothmog. I guess it doesn't work as well with Gothmog, because if we play Muster on 2 and then Gothmog on 4, we're going to have a 2/2 Death Touching army, which isn't really better than a 1/1 Death Touching army. But Muster is still a great card in general. Take a Fog, probably starting that in the sideboard. Unless we need a lot of removal, we can put it in, because it's not a removal spell that I particularly like. Another Combat Trick. I guess I could splash in a Shadowfax. I don't think I'm going to put in 2 Escape from Orthanc out of the side. Alright, I'd definitely take Banish. I think I can start with a Banish in the main deck over a Fog. Put in Banish, drop the Warg now. "16 creatures, yeah, seems decent enough. Take a Nimble Hobbit. Take a Soldier. Shire Terrace. And a Snarling Warg. And that is how things are going to wrap up. Looks like a pretty decent, pretty average black-white deck here. Kind of already fully built. This is just what we're running. Some solid removal with double Claim the Precious, a little bit of card draw with Nasty End along with tokens and Haunted Dead Marshes. Dawn of a New Age for even more card draw. Graveyard Recursion with Sam's Desperate Rescue, the big bomb of the deck being War of the Last Alliance, to tutor out our best legends and then give everybody double strike. And a little bit more removal with Banish. Looks like a pretty reasonable deck. I'm just going to call it a deck there right now during the draft. and hop immediately into the gameplay. Here we are for game 1 on the play. Definitely could get flooded here, but hopefully Mortar Muster can find us another non-land card. Just something to do between turn 2 and turn 6. Our turn 2 and our turn 6 play are both very powerful, at least. Alright, drop a swamp, pass the turn. They drop a swamp as well. Let's go for our Mortar Muster, find a Banish from Adora. So now it's all removal and a 6-drop, which is really awkward. And it gets more awkward drawing the 5th Plains before the 2nd swamp, which is incredibly redundant. 5th Plains is basically like we've mulliganed here, because our 6-drop just needs double black and 4 Plains, and there's nothing in our deck that needs more than that much mana. So very much not liking how we're drawing, but at least we're not under any pressure from our opponent. Looks like they're also drawing poorly. They've Lembused trying to find a green source and have not found it. So it's going to be a really awkward game 1 where it feels like it's going to be more about the Magic Arena Shuffler than it is about either player's gameplay. We just get to see who draws out of their precarious situations first, and it looks like our opponent, because they have drawn into the Forest Cycler. And now they get to drop a Pathfinder, which ramps them up, gets them out of the mana screw that they're dealing with. But I guess we kind of both drew out of our position in the exact same time, because I did draw my 2nd black source for Voracious Fellbeast and claim the Precious and stuff, so each player gets to cast some spells now, but because they were mana screwed, we know they have at least 6 non-land cards here, so they're likely to have a lot more action, a lot more gas than we do. And cards like Mirkwood Spider are particularly good against Voracious Fellbeast. Just a little 1/1 here. I think we still jam out the Fellbeast, so I can just send in for 4 damage in the sky every turn. That feels better than just playing a 3/3 and a 1/1 right now, when they're going to have a pretty decent time cluttering up the board. Plus, if I play Fellbeast pre-combat, they might sack the Spider, in which case the Ungol Patrol gets to attack in this turn. They're going to sack the Pathfinder, so it must be a pretty low curve in terms of what's in their hand. Just a bunch of 3-4 mana stuff, where they don't really need the mana ramp of the Pathfinder. Got our fingers crossed, hopefully no removal for the Fellbeast. There's a Meriadoc Brandybuck. It's pretty good with Peregrine. Every time they attack with a Hobbit, they get 2 food tokens now, because of Peregrine's ability. And if they manage to get 3, they can sack them to draw a card. I don't think I need to claim the Precious anything right now, but if I claim or banish the Spider, then they have no good blocks. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get real aggressive here, because we get to make our 1/1 the Ring Bearer, so they can't block that at all, and then jam in with these, and they don't have enough power to block and kill the Ungol Patrol. And then we jam out a Protector of Gondor post-combat. And they're going to attack with Mary here, and I'm just going to let Protector of Gondor die to whatever combat trick they have. They spend mana on a combat trick that's less mana to eat food or play more creatures. If they don't have a combat trick, it's just a free kill. They're just going to amass with the Bardur. They are. They only have the mana to amass 1, so that doesn't really matter. They can use Peregrine to draw 1 card. They're going to do that. Cool. We've still got excellent attacks, so I send in with everybody. Do I have lethal if I banish? They can chump the 4/5, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't have lethal if I banish, so I'm just going to send in and hold the banish for later. They could double block, kill our Protector of Gondor is probably their best block. But they're just going to kill a 1/1 here, fair enough. Take a little less damage that way. Down to 3. I guess they don't have enough life to do the block I was suggesting. Math is for blockers. There's a Butterbur, Bree, Innkeeper, so they're going to get 2 food tokens during their end step because of Butterbur plus Peregrine. But they only have enough mana to eat 1 of the food tokens. So clearing a path, exiling one of these creatures means lethal on board. They're at 6 life right now after eating a food. And they can only block 1 of these many creatures. Should probably play the Gore Bag as well, so if they somehow don't die, I could sack my 1/1 army to draw a card. But I'm fairly certain they just die. Alright, that is going to do it for game 1. Really awkward game in general. Nobody got to do anything until like turn 5 for the most part, because they had to find their second color, and we just flooded a little bit. So, really awkward start to that game. At least both players got to start casting things eventually, off of their Pathfinders, and us just off of drawing non-lands. So, Black Breath does look really nasty in this archetype, or in this matchup against their deck archetype, with a Spider and double Pathfinder. So let's throw in a Black Breath. But for the most part, our matchup looked pretty decent. I don't think I need to change much. I could drop 1 Cavalier here. Got a lot of 2-drops that are pretty filler. Cavalier's particularly filler, so drop that, put in a Black Breath, and get jamming in for game number 2. Another pretty slow hand, but really powerful cards again. I will keep it. Uh-oh, another 4-drop for us. We've still got 3 1-drops and 5 2-drops in this deck, so I don't think there's anything wrong with the deck construction curve-wise. Just drawing some slow hands for sure. Oh my god, Black Breath would be so good this game. Alright, well that's a huge bummer. We kept a slower hand with nothing till turn 4, and we didn't even draw a 3-drop. When you count 3 drops, like we have like 10 cards in the deck that are 3 mana or less. Just drew into none of them. Oh my god, please, Black Breath. Please. That would single-handedly turn this game around so hard. None of our legends would off of War of the Last Alliance. Because we only have... I mean, we've drawn 2 of our 4 legends, so we only have a Frodo and a Gore Bag left in there. I guess next turn I could play War and Frodo in the same turn, maybe. I think I just have to play Protector of Gondor here. I actually like that better than playing Gothmog right now, since I don't need Death Touch on the 1/1s currently anyway. Kind of just all in on drawing the Black Breath and insta-winning the game. If we don't draw the Black Breath, we can still race, because we're only taking 2 a turn once we clutter up the ground. Okay. Do I grab a Frodo and try to get a 2/3 lifelinker? That does seem alright. Yeah, start working on getting a lifelinker against the Flyers. We'll have to find a way to get past the death-touching blocker, but still seems alright to me. Solid blocks here. I guess I attack with Protector and see if that trades into the Spider. Uh-oh, combat trick? Escape from Orthanc. Alright, well. Escape's gone, at least. Now they amass 1? Because they've got the Pathfinder up to do so. Wait, how does this work? A black and 2, so 3 mana to amass 1. 5 mana to amass 2. Okay, so they couldn't amass 2 there. Alright, Quick Beam's going to be pretty deadly. Trample up the board now. Fell Beast is something, but it's not enough. They just sack a 1/1. Well, I'm incredibly happy with my sideboard decisions. Because good lord do we win this game if we draw the Black Breath, but we didn't draw it, so I'm pretty sure we're dying now. We're at 6 life. If they top deck a land, they can give something +3/+3 trample with Pathfinder, and that's a very, very real death sentence. Do I need to play Gothmog Gorebag for just as many blockers as possible? I might need to do that. Play as many blockers as humanly possible. They just hit me for 4 in the sky if they have Pathfinder mana. I could also just play Gothmog and hold up the ability to make Frodo a lifelinker on blocks. Sure. I don't know what's the best here, but it feels pretty unlikely anything we do is gonna get us to survive 2 swings. And there's the mana for Pathfinder to give +3/+3 trample. Give that to Quick Beam and we probably just die if they attack with everybody. Maybe not, because if they attack with everybody, Quick Beam tramples over, but I lifelink with Frodo. Alright, so they're just going to send in for 4 damage in the sky with Pathfinder. 5 damage in the sky. My bad. There's a Claim the Precious. Double striking lifelinking Frodo is actually really big here. So we gain back up to being at 5 life, which means we don't die in just 1 more swing, especially if I claim the Precious, the Pathfinder, or one of the flyers. I'm going to make Frodo the Ring Bearer. I also am tempted to play Rosy Cotton here. I could play Rosy and claim this turn. Oh, you know what the problem is? They can still trump Frodo with a 1/1, then I only gain 2. And if I Rosy, I only gain 3, which would mean that I'm dead if I don't kill Pathfinder. So I guess we are going to have to claim the Pathfinder. Which means I think it is Rosy Cotton plus Claim the Precious on Pathfinder. But we play Rosy before combat so that we gain 3 life instead of 6 life. Or gain 3 life instead of 2 life. But we do gain 3 instead of 6 since they can make a block. Okay, kill the Pathfinder. Level 2 ring-bearing Frodo. I'm shooketh. Oh my god, East Farthing Farmer, so we take 3. That's still not dead. Not quite. And then I gain 3. I take 3, then I gain 3. But they can Mirkwood Spider the Frodo now. The Westfold Rider to kill our food, which I guess is reasonable. Go for it. Okay, can we kill the Mirkwood Spider? Dang. Can't kill the Mirkwood Spider. I can still gain 3 life. And then I just play a Fell Beast to block the flyers twice in a row. It's probably where we're at. I guess I draw a card, discard a card before I do anything too committal here. I guess if I played Fellbeast pre-combat, I'd be hitting with Frodo for 4, so I'd be gaining 4 life instead. Alright, Fellbeast is still going to be incredible, though. I don't think I need to make the Fellbeast any bigger. It's already going to be our biggest target for removal to get their flyers in. I think I should probably focus on making my ground blockers bigger against them getting trample off of Quick Beam again. Yeah, especially if they sack one of those. Let's just start buffing the ground a little bit so I don't take as much trample damage if they hit another tree folk. Alright, land off the top is so good for us. They've got enough to amass black 1, 2, 3. Amass 3, make a 3/3. Okay, we're definitely able to attack with Fell Beast if we want, but then I take 1 on the crackback. What do I want to Desperate Rescue? Probably Frodo. Yeah, we got rid of the Death Toucher, so Frodo's going to be a really good lifelinker coming up. Lifelinking Ring-bearing Frodo, potentially, if we're really lucky. I have a 5/6 and a 2/3. Probably make the 2/2 a Ring-bearer. No, I don't know. It's not a 1/1 because it just trades into the flyer. I guess I maybe should have just put it on Fell Beast since that might be attacking soon-ish. I could afford to attack here. I'm gonna be at 7. Yeah, I probably should have put the Ring Bearer on the Fell Beast, I guess. I think 7 life is a reasonable enough position to attack with both of these. Another land, ditch that. Okay, clear out the farmer. Pass the turn, I can reanimate the haunt or I can eat the food. Depending on what I need to do. So the Black Breath is still an incredible draw. Not because it's going to be killing a lot of stuff, but because of because we just want a Ring Bearer again, make a level 4 Ring Bearing Frodo. That would just like insta-win the game. So I guess it would still insta-win, actually, now that I think of it, because the level 4 Ring Bearing Frodo kills them in one hit. So let's actually try to scry into the Black Breath. Or any Ring Tempt. Okay, Esquire is not Ring Tempt. I'll scry it to the bottom, and we draw into a land, which is also not a card to let the Ring Tempt us. Ungle Patrol is going to be fantastic here. Let's get that onto the board and hold our mana up to eat the food. I guess if I played this land, I could chump with Haunt and reanimate it in the same turn. It's probably more worth it. I don't need to hold lands to discard to draw and discard stuff. Oh god. Because if the Ring tempts me again, I'm not going to be drawing and discarding a card every turn. I'm going to be killing them in one hit with Frodo. I guess now I might have to chump with Frodo, in which case... Sure, maybe holding the land does play well. So, +4/+4 trample to the board here. It's going to be very big. I don't think it kills us, but we're going to have to lose most of our board. So I'm going to be at essentially 6 life. That is 12 power. I have to block with 6 toughness. Here's 5. There's 6 toughness there. But I need to block Quick Beam with at least 1 power. I don't have any more token production, so Gothmog's actually not that spicy. But there's no way I can kill Quick Beam. I really want to keep Frodo, so if I hit something where the Ring tempts us, they do immediately die. Okay, so I get trampled over and take 6 right now. So I guess I would have to block with Gothmog. I'm doing things this way. I think I'd rather lose Gothmog or the patrol than Gothmog and the patrol. So what if... I'm probably supposed to put Frodo on this block. And just let them kill Frodo. I don't just kill them in one ring hit here. Alright, sure. They probably kill Frodo, so I can't just draw on 2 Black Breath and kill them, killing their 1 blocker for Frodo. And getting the Ring Bearer in. But this way I only lose 1.5 creatures. I lose a Haunt and 1 of my other creatures. Frodo's gone. Very sad. Very, very sad. Alright, we need them to have no more tree folks. No more tree folk. There's a many partings for another food. I'll hold full control here. Reanimate the Haunt during my upkeep. Before I draw. Is Black Breath good enough to want that? I'm gonna do that. I mean, worst case scenario, I still can cast both of these after doing this. I'm gonna do it. Before I draw. And then Haunt plus Ongo Patrol is going to be insane. There's a Banish. Banish the Quick Beam for 3 and still have 2 mana up for these 2. That's big. Yeah, keep that. Actually, 1 mana away from what I'd really want to do, which is banish the Quick Beam and then have the mana up to sack a creature, get a food. I can still sack a creature, get a food, but I can't get the food and eat it in the same turn, which is a big bummer. Okay, and at this point, I'm just holding back on blocks, and sacking one of my creatures without having the mana to actually eat the food isn't really going to help. So I'm going to just play another creature. And then pass. Oh my god, Mirkwood Bats just kills me. We're dead. Because now they just make an Amass token and sack their food and I take 2. Exactly. Seems good. Felt like we could definitely grind it out there. Not against Mirkwood Bats in the end. Yeah, I guess I need to just preserve that life total a little harder than I did. I could have sacked another creature to be at a slightly higher life total and we would have been able to get through the bats that way, potentially. But bats plus Barad-dûr was going to be a nightmare anyway, even if we could have made that game last a little bit longer. But then I could have started doing the patrol for some life gain. I don't know, there's certainly other lines that could have gotten there, but I think most of the lines we took were really reasonable. Obviously not perfect in exact hindsight, but I'm gonna run it back. I think we can absolutely win this game. Alright. If I draw any 2 lands, I've got War of the Last Alliance. If I draw 1 land, I've got Farmer. If I draw Swamps, then I have a beautiful hand. I am gonna keep. If this were a best of 1 draft, I probably would have mulliganed this with the hand smoother. But best of 3 doesn't have a hand smoother, so this feels pretty dang average for best of 3. Based on my luck in these opening hands in best of 3 rounds. Do find a black source, which is beautiful. Farmer doesn't really do anything. I'm just going to play Haunt on blocks, because then their Westfold Rider doesn't attack well, and I get to dig for land 4. Ideally another swamp. Perfect. Definitely keep another swamp on top. There's a Lembas for our opponent. Pass the turn. If I drop War of the Last Alliance, worst case scenario, I get the best legend from my deck into my hand and kill a 3/1. So that's still a big 2-for-1. So I think even though they can blow it up, I'm still just going to jam it out this turn, because it's still a good deal. I'm going to do it post-combat, though, because if we trade into the Westfold Rider, then it will still be slightly better, I think. Post-combat. Escape from Orthanc? Alright, can't stop that. That's fair enough. Escape into Cavalier's a fine trade. So, strongest legend in our deck right now is probably Gothmog, maybe Frodo. Feel like it's probably Gothmog. Rosie would also be okay. I'm gonna go for the Gothmog here. There's a Woe's Pathfinder. Pass the turn. They're not going to kill the War of the Last Alliance, so I can get Frodo as well. Or I could get Rosie and play Rosie pre-Gothmog, which is also spicy. Play it nice and slow here. I think I just want to play a Frodo. I've got 2 ways for the ring to tempt us, so we can make Frodo a ring bearer, and I just hit my 3rd swamp to make Frodo the level 3 of Frodo's abilities. Don't really need a Gothmog against their current board state, but it would give me a wider board to double strike with, so I probably still do it. Rather than leveling up Frodo right now. So now if they don't Westfold Rider the War, then we have a really big board of double strikers. Alright, well, that played out super well for us. War of the Last Alliance turned into draw Frodo, draw Gothmog, blow up their 3/1. Puts us very far ahead. Don't have any creatures I want to bring back with Desperate Rescue, but they also don't have anything I want to blow up with Claims of Precious. Maybe Peregrines, they can't have card draw, but if I get rid of Mary, then they won't have food right now anyway. I guess if I kill Peregrine, then I get a Frodo attack in that they can't block at all currently, and a Gothmog attack in. Yeah, I really jam in if I kill Peregrine here. There's a Butterbur Innkeeper. Gonna be a lot of potential food production for them. Okay, well now they're just gonna have 1 food, because they can't, unless they play another land, they can't eat that food and then get another from Butterbur right now. Butterbur only makes food when they don't have any. There's the Black Breath, which is actually weaker now than it would have been. They can't block Frodo with Butterbur, they can only block with Pathfinder, so Frodo's attack is pretty free. If I want to just level it up and turn it into a level 2 ring bearer. I think I still want to be just jamming out more creatures right now, rather than leveling up my Frodo. So let's send in the squad. I'll let them have a kill on Gothmog here. We can rescue it back and replay it for some great value soon. Could even do that immediately, but I'd rather just play Protector of Gondor. I guess since I have Black Breath, yeah, you know what, sure. Since I have the Black Breath, I'll still rescue Gothmog immediately, but I'd still rather have another 3/3 and 1/1 than a 3/3 and a 2/2 army. But I should get the mana out of the way to Black Breath, or to Desperate Rescue now, so that we have a level 2 Ring Bearer and we can start drawing and discarding a card next turn. There's Generous Ent, which cannot block Frodo at least. Play Gothmog, I can attack with all my tokens. And Frodo. Don't get to level up the ring here, but does give me more attacks. Find a Plains. If I have another mana, I can go East Farthing Farmer plus Frodo's ability in one turn, so that's tempting, but Ungle Patrol's very good with these tokens and with Haunt. So I think I'm still just going to discard the land. Because I like having a card that lets me put a Ring Bearer out again if I need to. And I definitely like having the Patrol for later if we need that. There's the Mirkwood Bats, but we're at 24 life this time, so should not be a big issue. I'm going to have to Black Breath so that Frodo's level 3 Ring Bearer so that we kill the bats if they block with it, instead of just bouncing off each other. I guess I could also just East Farthing Farmer and then Frodo's 3 power this turn. Yeah, I could just play East Farthing Farmer. Frodo's at 3 power. They still can't block Frodo with the Ent. But now if they block Frodo with the bats dies and Frodo lives. So we'll do the Farmer instead. And the Death Toucher. They're down to 5. Drop another creature. There's their own East Farthing Farmer with 3/4 food on the board because the Lembas counts. They can get a really big attack. And they have the mana to gain 6, eat 2 food tokens. This could be a big problem for me. Claim the Precious. Alright, never mind. Fantastic draw. We get the Generous Ent out of the way and we send everybody in. And we're golden. Yep. They crack back for like 3 on the ground. I'm just clicking that button. All attack. Ooh. Start drawing an extra card every turn off of Minas Tirith. Our opponent eats their 6th life worth of food and still dies on board. Okay. I don't even get to draw my Minas Tirith card. Alright, so game 2 panned out pretty awkwardly for us. We would have won that game with a Black Breath at any time. And if I gained a little bit more life at some point or played a little more defensively, I think we still could have turned it around. So that was the only like rough patch there. Probably could have played a little tighter somewhere in game 2 to have a little more life. But overall, pretty solid stuff. Gonna get us a 1-0 start to this traditional draft as we head into round 2. Here we are for round 2. This is an excellent curve. We have a turn 1 and a turn 2 play, and our turn 1 play can try to scry into something for turn 3 or 4. Ooh. I don't have any legends, so that's going to be a tapped land until I play a Ring Bearer, and if I don't keep both Haunt and Westfold Rider on the board, it might not even trigger, especially if we get on the defensive. I'm gonna get rid of Minas Tirith. It's really close though, because if the game works well for us and our opponent doesn't have good blocks early, we can use that to stay fueled. But I think too many things could go wrong with it. Probably just ditch it here. Okay. Could claim the Lothlorien Lookout. I do not think that is necessary. I'll just offer the Westfold Rider trade. The trade happens, so I will rescue that then. So I'm still doing some good stuff for my mana here, and then the next time the ring tempts me, we have a level 2 Ring Bearer, which is a very big deal. Setting up to draw a card and discard a card every turn. Like, having a Haunt be a Ring Bearer is slightly awkward, but at level 1 it doesn't really matter. And that gets us set up for level 2, which is great. So now I'm just going to War the Last Alliance into some strong legends. Go from there. Playing against green-blue scry, because we see forests and islands and we see multiple Lothlorien lookouts. I feel like I always just grab Gothmog first. Card is just big. Lots of value. But I'll probably grab Gothmog and Frodo. I guess it doesn't matter the order, because we'll have both of them in hand. And then I can just play both this turn for 5 mana. Just perfect curve here. I get a free attack with the Haunt. And then Frodo Gothmog. And then, thanks to Gothmog being 2 creatures off 1 card, the double strike ability from the War of the Last Alliance next turn is huge. And thanks to having Frodo on board, we'll have like a perfect Ring Bearer. The Scroll of Isildur can tap and stun our creatures next turn, but we still get an attack before that happens. Soothing a Smeagol the Gothmog, that's a little sad. But at least I get to amass again when I replay it. Alright, they're going to attack with Legolas, so all the damage comes in here. Full double strike swing this turn. Ooh. I could just Westfold Rider their scroll. That doesn't seem like the right thing to do right now, though. It's okay if they tap and stun some stuff. If I drew a land, level up Frodo plus Amass would have been awesome. I could still level up Frodo and just claim the Precious Legolas or banish Legolas. Wait a second. I could double level up Frodo and then go to level 4 Ring Bearer. Hold on, that's kind of scary for our opponent. This might not be right, but it's the coolest thing we can do, so I'm gonna do it. Dang, we hit the land, so we could have went Gothmog plus Westfold Rider. Alright, yeah, I should have just Gothmogged. For sure. Because I wasn't even considering that. Of the whole, that I could hit a land off of the draw discard. That would have been better. Alright, there's a Thillian Kingfisher. Which can't block a Haunt, so if I just move the ring to the Haunt, we hit for 4 off of that. Revive the Shire, get a food, get a 1/3. 1/3 gives them a blocker for the Haunt. But then I can exile that off of Banish from Adoris next turn. Could also Westfold Rider the Scroll so that we get to keep Frodo on board. I think I'm still supposed to move the Ring Bearer over this turn though. Even if I do that. Yeah. Another Claim the Precious? I forgot we had 2 in this deck. That's actually wild. This deck is high quality. Oh wait, they don't bounce our cards. I'm getting all my stuff mixed up. I'm remembering the saga from Dominaria that lets them bounce the creatures too. This scroll does not bounce them. Time of Ice from the original Dominaria was the one that bounced them. My brain is just going down nostalgic pathways that are not how things are actually going here. Okay, so now I can just claim and move the ring back to Frodo. I don't actually think that's great right now because then they just trump Frodo. We'll just banish to get the Haunt in. And then I still have claim for later. They are down to 4 life. Playing off the top. Find a delighted halfling. And a sting. That is dead to the Haunt. Level 4 ring-bearing Haunt. Get in there. Okay. So that is a victory in game 1. We kind of just drew some real explosive stuff. We got to War of the Last Alliance into multiple strong legends to cast afterwards. We got to Frodo double strike to bring the ring from level 2 to level 4. Again, it probably wasn't the right play, but it was very cool. So it was fun to do that. I played a little loose because I kept thinking that the scroll was going to bounce all my stuff. So I should not have done that. But overall, the deck really showed up that game. So they have Athelian Kingfishers we could kill with -1/-1, but other than that, a lot of 1/3s and 2/3s it looked like. I don't think I care too much for anything in our sideboard right now in this matchup. I think I can just run it back. We could play Escape if I'm really worried about the Flyers, but I think it's just a good matchup as it stands. So let's not mess with perfection here as we head into game 2 of round 2. Turn 1 Frodo seems busted. Turn 3 Claim the Precious as well. Ooh, speaking of busted, turn 1 Mana Dork is fantastic. Turn 1 Delighted Halfling so they can start playing things real early. They're on the play plus Mana Dork. They do not have a 3 mana card to play immediately though, so that's good for us. I'll just drop Dawn of a New Age next turn as a draw too if they don't play anything to claim. Arwen? That is definitely something to claim the Precious on because this Lookout plus Arwen is gonna be wild. Okay, and they're gonna bounce our Frodo as well, make Arwen the Ring Bearer. The Lookout is permanently gonna be a 2/4, but I need to stop Arwen ASAP. So I'm just going to do that next turn. My 1/1 is not going to trump anything well, so I'm just going to send in with it and probably draw 3 off Nasty End soon. No longer on the Dawn of a New Age plan. Oh god. Now they have Chance Med Elves with the Lothlorien Lookout. Okay, okay. Definitely an issue. Could play Rider plus Dawn of a New Age to draw 2 without sacking a creature, or I could just Nasty End to draw 3. It's draw 2 without sacking creature, and it's going to be gain a couple points of life. Gain 4 life. Yeah, I mean, we just need to find a way to blow up the elves, and then we'll be fine again. So we're just digging for removal for Chance Med Elves for now. And I suppose I can threaten to double block the Lothlorien Lookout if they don't have a trick here. Scroll is a trick next turn, doesn't do anything right now. I guess it makes the Lookout the Ring Bearer. Yeah, that's an issue, so now I can't double block it, because Rider has too much power to block. And now they have 2 Lookouts. Again, as long as I can find a way to kill the Chance Med Elves, I'll be fine. And I guess if they attack, I just double block the Elves instead. Never mind. Okay, we're fine. Double block and kill the Elves. Now they don't draw anything off of the scroll. And I just play a 4/5? Okay, that worked really well for us. If our opponent had just not attacked with Chance Med Elves, I think we would still be in a pretty bad spot, but they gave us that opportunity to find the double block for the kill. I guess they do get to tap the patrol and draw one card off of that. But we're only taking 4 now. They're only tapping 1 dork instead of 2. I think this is still a pretty favorable position for us. Lookout as a ring bearer is very nice for them though. And we are flooding out here on 9 lands. Yeah, ring bearing lookout. It's actually quite good. Scry and then draw a card, discard a card every turn. They're scrying 2 and then drawing, discarding. So they're really got the hookup, choosing what they want to draw. Stew the conies. Okay, well this is instant speed, which is great for me. I should have played more swamps instead of plains so that I could level 3 here while I've got that mana up. Okay, definitely no blocks. We gotta keep Frodo around. They're gonna get their scry, get their draw and discard. Playing the wrong lands over here. Down to 9. Good grief. Okay, so probably just holding off on blocks. Got a nasty end and an Ungol Patrol sack ability to use if it comes down to it. There's a Legolas, so as our creatures die, Legolas is going to get bigger and bigger. Okay, they're going to pass turn. Let's make Frodo level 3. Draw for turn. Another land. Yeah, there's no point in attacking with Frodo at all, because it's not a ring bearer anyway. We just gotta pass again. I might even have to just nasty end Frodo without blocking. I think I'm still gonna try to get a block with Frodo and nasty end. So make the Lothlorien Lookout a 3/5, and now the only way to block it is with Frodo. Can't block with the patrol. Alright, so we got rid of the Chance Med-Elves, which was the initial issue, but looks like this is still a game where we have to find a removal spell, probably 2. I think we need to get through Lothlorien Lookout, the ring-bearing one, and the Legolas to be in a decent spot here, so hopefully our draw 3 gets us pretty far towards that. Just gotta find 2 removal spells, ideally. Okay, bunch of creatures is good. Bunch of creatures is very solid. Land is not. Let's scry with the Haunt. Get rid of another land. And play a Protector of Gondor and an East Farthing Farmer, holding up 1 mana to sack something to an Ungol Patrol. I'm gonna assume Sting is like really good on a ring bearer, but I'll read it here after I pass turn. Apologies if you hear the cats in the background. It's just about their dinner time, so I'll be feeding them after this game. No, it's just +1/+1. First strike if it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc, so don't block with the orc soldier, but I already can't. Revive the Shire on Arwen. That's a nightmare. Alright, well, we definitely kill this Lookout. But then they still have another Lookout with Arwen, plus the mana to use Arwen's ability off of Delighted Halfling in their 5 lands. Okay, once again, even though Ungol Patrol is big enough to block the Lookout now, I should not do that, because then it's going to have first strike. Do I block with the Haunt in case I draw into a legend? Probably do. There's 6 power. They don't have instant speed scry unless they have Hithlane Knots in hand or something. Arwen's ability is 6 mana. If they do, I can Ungle Patrol one of these things. Bombadil Song. Of all the cards to get got by. Alright. 5 power, 7 toughness being the really important part. So they're going to kill the Haunt and the Farmer right now. They can only kill one of the 3 toughness cards, so we sack the Haunt then. Since it'll die anyway, and we're not going to kill the Lookout. Sam's Desperate Rescue on Frodo or Westfold Rider doesn't do too much. Rosie Cotton's very good with the Ungle Patrol. But we're just hitting way too few removal spells against the Rube Goldberg machine they've set up here. Still got 2 more in here, at least, as far as I remember. We have like 2.5. We have Banish, Claim, and a Fell Beast. Fell Beast doesn't really work though since they have the Halfling. Okay. Guess I can just block the Lookout with Ungle Patrol and make it a 5/6. That's something. If I Desperate Rescue Frodo back, that's fine. But I could just spend all 7 mana on reanimating the Haunt twice and sacking it once. Which is also fine. I'm just going to do that. Reanimate the Haunt, sack it, reanimate the Haunt. I get 1/1/1 counter here to make sure that the Ungle Patrol doesn't die to the Lookout. They've only got 1 card in hand. If it's not a combat trick, we might be able to get a kill on Legolas here. Because they can use Arwen as a combat trick for +1/+1, but that's it. So just do the math of just 1 more toughness than it looks like. So Legolas could be a 6/7, the Lookout could be a 6/8. The Lookout would be first strike though, since I'm not going to be able to block it with enough power without the patrol. 6/7 is big enough to kill my patrol, which is a really big issue. Because even if I give the patrol the counter from Rosie, dies to Arwen's ability. We might be just on the chump train here. I could just eat a bunch of food. We probably have to kill Legolas ASAP. But losing the Ungle Patrol is just way too big of a deal. Alright, let's chump with Protector of Gondor. That's a pretty good creature to Desperate Rescue, I guess. And just take 5. Last card in hand was another Chance Met Elves. Matchup feels favorable. This game definitely does not. There's a Banish. Probably too late now, but we'll find out. Probably have to banish Legolas now. Yeah, it's definitely too late now. Guess if we find a Gothmog that could get there. Eastmark Cavalier definitely doesn't. Minas Tirith definitely doesn't. Gothmog's kind of like our 1 out. Just having 1/1 Death Touchers would be insane right now. So we can keep chumps going with Haunt Sack. So if we banish Arwen's, they can't set up Scries. Or banish the Ring Bearers, so they don't draw and discard every turn. Yeah, and just try to find Gothmog. Yeah. Let's banish the Ring Bearer, try to find Gothmog. Guess then we have to be worried about it coming down to who mills out, which would be us first. Oh, they can still scry with Rivendell for only 2 mana with that Chance Met Elves and the Arwen. Sting onto the Chance Met Elves. They do not have the mana to scry with Arwen, but they do with Rivendell, so they can make that 8 power since they're attacking with Lookout as well. That is too big to do anything about. Make it 8 power, 7 toughness. We're just going back in the chump zone. There's Gothmog, that's a big deal. It's only going to be 1 Death Toucher, but then I can pick up Gothmog with Sam's Desperate Rescue later. Nimrodel Watcher for an unblockable creature with all their scry. So that probably kills me through Gothmog eventually. Not immediately. Westfold Rider the Sting, so they don't have first strike against the patrol, but it doesn't really matter because I've got higher toughness than power anyway. I gotta just juice it up a lot regardless and get rid of the Westfold Rider. Eat some food. There's a claim. Claim the precious. The unblockable creature. Death Touch token the Legolas, trump the other card. They don't have the mana up to scry with Rivendell right now, so I can make Rosy Cotton or Ring Bearer to draw and discard. If I want to, but I gotta worry about milling out before them. So I don't know that I do. Like, I could... I guess I can't put the counter on herself anyway. I was gonna say I could make her a 2/2 and then attack, and the only thing they could block with is Halfling, but yeah, if that's the case, then I'm definitely just not. Let's just buff the patrol again. They seem pretty low on removal in their deck. So I'm just gonna put all the eggs into that patrol basket. Eventually it's big enough to block and kill something without dying. I mean, it's already gonna be bigger than everything except Legolas and Chance Met Elves. Okay, Athelian Kingfisher. A flyer is a big deal. Especially with Arwen on board. Ooh, Sting makes it so the Death Toucher doesn't get to kill whatever has Sting on it. So that's a thing. They've only got the mana to scry 1 more time. As far as I know, they can scry 1 time here, make Chance Met Elves an 8/7, which I can still beat with an 8/9. So we do block both of these. And kill both. This should be incredible for us. This should be where we turn things around. Oh, right. It triggers twice. Okay, well, that's a bummer. We're going to have to Desperate Rescue our patrol. Totally forgot it triggers twice. Okay. I could still draw into something instant speed. I don't have a lot of instants in this deck, though. Voracious Fellbeast is a good card, but not an instant. So even if I make this an 8-9, it dies here because the first strike. So I buff Gothmog, I guess. Reanimate a Haunt. Find an Esquire. Not super exciting. Alright, that was a bad block for me. Should just blocked with the Haunt. I forgot about the double ability. So Fellbeast kills the Halfling, which doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna have to just scoop once we have 10 minutes left, because our odds of winning have been astronomically low this whole time. And still are. Because we just can't do anything about Chance Mid-Elves because of the Sting. So I guess I should have kept the artifact removal to blow up Sting so that if I drew into Gothmog, we could still Death Touch away the Chance Mid-Elves. That was probably the biggest line that could and should have gone differently for us. Oops. So I can still just like never die on the ground, but I'm gonna mill myself out before I find a way to kill them. Like I can drop this Fellbeast and hope that that gets there, especially if I find one more way for the ring to tempt us. That could be a win con. All to the top with Elven Fireside, I see. They get a Celeborn the Wise. Counter on the Kingfisher. Yeah, counter on the Flyer. You know what? I'm going to just move to game 3 so I have as much time as possible in that game. This game, I probably should have just scooped long ago to preserve my timer. But we really need to just hit removal earlier in these matchups. Alright, played that out. Definitely a bit sloppy there. If I'd seen earlier that Gothmog was going to be my one big out and I had killed Sting with a Westfold Rider, maybe multiple Gothmogs in a row could have grinded that game out, but that was about our only shot. Otherwise, if we're stuck on the blocking Patrol Haunt combo, we just mill ourselves out and lose to mill. So, alright, just play a little tighter here. Now we know for sure. I guess I could play Fog in this matchup, but they have a bounce spell in their deck, so they could just bounce their own creature. That would be really bad for me. Believe that we've seen a bounce spell. Actually, I'm not certain how that card works. The scroll, I don't know if it bounces only opposing creatures. If it can bounce their own creatures, then yeah, they can use that to save something from a Fog, which is really bad for us. And if they have Soothing a Smeagol as well, then the Fog's still pretty bad. The Fog doesn't stop any abilities, which isn't great. It might be worth swapping something out for, but I don't think it's going to be fantastic in this match. That's our one big sideboard tool. And we're doing alright so far. Nice slow start for our opponent, so just having one Claim the Precious should play really well here. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that isn't bounce yet again, because it's not the card from Dominaria. Well, we're flooding out pretty hard right now. Gotta find some spells here, but currently they're not playing any creatures at all. They do get to slow us down quite a bit with the Scroll of Isildur. We'll see, there's a chance Mid-Elves. Big enough deal to kill, especially if I draw an additional claim. So let's blow that up. Make Cavalier the Ring Bearer since it's Vigilance. And then Claim the Precious to have a level 2 Ring Bearer, and that's how we keep drawing some plays. Try to keep going from there. There's a Rosy Cotton as well. I can play that and Rosy. Seems cool to me. They've got a lot of 3/2s and stuff in their decks. I'm actually going to have the Ring Bearer stay a 2/2 right now. I think I'm going to discard this Haunt and just reanimate it from the grave during my upkeep. Stop at upkeep. There we go. Put a stop on my upkeep, and then I don't have to full control mode. Alright, sweet. They have nothing. They just play a land pass. Ooh, I accidentally doubled. I didn't know full control would let me do that. Alright, apparently their hand really sucks, because I think they mulliganed once or twice there. That was a really weird game of Magic. I even accidentally double haunted there, but I guess they have nothing, so they're taking 6 on board no matter what. So even if I did double haunt, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. Still get our scry one, which is important. Okay, that was a super loose match against the green-blue scry deck, but Arena's got our back there. Opponent draws pretty poorly in game 3, and we will find the win there. Again, unless, I don't know, turn 2, we would have had to have thought like 15 turns ahead or something with that Westfold Rider to get rid of the Sting. We would have had to, we really just needed to think of our outs more quickly there and think what on earth possibly deals with all this and be like, well, at this point it's just Gothmog, reanimate Gothmog. And the only way that that's going to deal with stuff is if we get rid of Sting's ability to give them first strike against our Death Touchers. So that was like the pivotal play of game 2, I think, was just keeping Westfold Rider. Would have been pretty important to get rid of the Sting. And then, because we did find the Gothmog, maybe we could have grinded it out there, but there were plenty of other loose lines, but I don't think those would have as drastically changed the course of that game. So, pretty awkward round 2, but we do still find a win in the end, off of some good luck in game 3, and just high card quality game 1 overall, so see if we can't keep it up. Hopefully the quality of the cards in our deck can just find us some free victories in round 3 so that I can fight my way through all my punts and misplays and all that stuff. That's how I like to draft. Just draft a deck that's so good that it's okay if I punt a decent amount of the time. We'll see how the cards fall as we head into the final battle. Here we are on the play for game number 1 of round 3, the final battles. We don't have anything great to play on turn 2 because Dawn of New Age to draw 1 card, gain 4 is not incredible. It's still fine. I mean, that's like a Revitalize, so I'll still do it if I don't draw another 2-drop, I think. But other than that, the curve is fantastic, but especially if we hit a 2-drop. Oh my god, okay. As much as I'd like to scry into a land, if I scry this to the bottom, then I'm just going to hit the next card that it would have drawn me anyway, so either way, I'll see just as many lands this game, because I'm going to draw into the card underneath it regardless, because it draws the card when I cast it. And this way we might be able to curve out a creature every single turn, which would be insane. Worst case scenario, now we Dawn of a New Age for 2 next turn. But again, whatever I draw here, I guess the War of the Last Alliance would have been my top deck if I didn't keep the Mordor Muster. Alright, hope for the best. Drop the Farmer, pre-combat, so we get extra damage off of it if they don't counter it. I'm going to buff the Orc Army, because if they have Deceive the Messenger for -3/-0 to a creature and trade off with a 1/1, I would much rather they kill the Haunt than the army, since the Haunt could come back from the grave later. But they do not have a Deceive the Messenger. So we're just curving out right now. Okay. Do not hit the mana to play Gothmog. Got some real good 4-drops. I want to just Dawn of a New Age to be much more likely to hit lands here. I guess I'll just attack, and based on what they do, consider between Dawn of a New Age and Westfold Rider. If they do absolutely nothing, maybe it's better to just Westfold Rider to keep the pressure on their life total. They're down to 12 here. That's another 3-power creature, which is big. We've seen mono blue. If they just go land Fear Fire Foes, I cry. Or if they go Mountain Fear Fire Foes or Swamp Black Breath, that's devastating. You know, let's make sure I've got plans for a long game. Let's drop Dawn of a New Age, I think. If they have a Saruman's Trickery, that sucks, but that sucks if we cast Westfold Rider as well. Yeah, that would suck either way. Cool. And there's a Pelargir Survivor. So that can hit their off color for instants and sorceries. There's the 4th mana. You love to see it. I'm going to drop the Gothmog first while they're tapped out of a counterspell for a creature. Lets our army attack into the Survivor. Trades into both if they block. Farmer just bounces off. Haunt doesn't do anything. Haunt dies. But if I attack all 3, then they kill Haunt and I hit for 2. Kind of cool, but with War of the Last Alliance in hand, let's try to keep these creatures on board rather than cashing them in for like 1 damage. Oh, now they have Deceive the Messenger. Well, it was an excellent time to draw it, because that played out way better for them than if they just had it on turn 1 to kill the Haunt. Drop Rohirrim Lancer. Okay, we do hit the land to play War and Frodo in the same turn. Not if it auto-taps like that. So this is great. Going for a big double strike victory. They have 3 power worth of creatures up. Go ahead, kill my Gothmog, do it. 1 less creature to double strike them with, but I hit them harder this turn. Kill the East Farthing Farmer so they can keep a creature, that's fine too. Next turn we grab another legend so I can cast 2 creatures next turn minimum. We can play the Halfling Thingamabob and Westfold Rider together for 5 mana. Rosy Cotton. There's a Quarrel's End for another blocker, and they're going to draw 2. There's an island for 3 mana up. Gandalf Sanction a Frodo or a Gothmog. Breaking the Fellowship the Frodo. Sure. They're going to jam in with the Lancer, hit me for 1. Sam's Desperate Rescue. Interesting. Could play Rosy Cotton and rescue Frodo then instead of playing Westfold Rider. Seems fine to me. Let's rescue Frodo. Ringbearer doesn't really matter. So just put it on the Haunt. Drop Frodo. Drop Rosie. Counter on the Haunt, they have bad blocks. Attack for 5. They're down to 4, and our board's going to have double strike next turn. Voracious Fellbeast, I do not have the mana for that. Ring Tempts us again, we move it over to Frodo. Send in the team. Goes Rosie. They can just block with Survivor. I want to have the 2 mana to level up Frodo and still play a creature this turn, so I'm going to drop the Ungle Patrol so I can level up Frodo, play Westfold. Because it's hybrid white or black, so I can spend double black to do it, and then white on Rider. Okay, well, if they block like this, they're going to make me do it. So if they've got the bounce spell or the removal spell well played, that is definitely the best block to get me to sink mana into Frodo. Yep, bounce spell it is. Then we play Westfold Rider for the turn. Oh god, they have 2 bounce spells? Or bounce and a burn? They're playing it out really tightly, like it's really well played from our opponent. If they have a bounce and a burn, then they're also just drawing like a champion in the end. Okay. That's not horrible for me. They do get a level 2 ring bearer. It's definitely a thing. Okay. Haunt. Scry. Find a nasty and not super interested. I want things that affect the board immediately, so let's draw into that Frodo instead. Okay. Treason of Isengard, a Breaking of the Fellowship back on top of their deck. Send in the Ring Bearer to draw into the Breaking of the Fellowship. That can give them a level 4. Level 4 Ring Bearer now. They can kill my Gothmog off my Westfold Rider and have a level 4 ring-bearing Pelargir Survivor. So we just make them sack a blocker and then trade the other one into Westfold Rider. And then the Fellbeast can kill them in one hit, potentially. But even if Fellbeast dies, next turn I can cast Frodo and reanimate the Haunt for later. They're going to keep the Survivor, go to 1. So they're going to send in the Pelargir Survivor. Draw a card, discard a card, hit us for 4. And then they just scoop them up. They did not find what they need. So I'm pretty scared of this matchup. Their opponent is playing very, very tight. And they had so much interaction there that we had kind of a dream curve there. Like, it was going to be real hard for any deck to beat how we were curving out. I guess I did miss like a land drop at the start, but we were jamming out a ton of good creatures and stuff and getting a lot of pressure on early. I think that was one of the best starts our deck can kind of hope for overall. They still had enough interaction to where it was feeling like they were starting to get close to stabilizing, turning things around with the Ring Bear, so I'm pretty scared. Their deck seems excellent, and they're playing quite tight. So we see a 2-1 Flamesmith, a 1-1 Quarrel's End, a 1-1 Amass, a 1-1 Amass, a 1-1 Menace. Does feel like a Black Breath matchup, but just barely, because they do have like 1-3s and stuff as well. I think that's probably better than maybe a Banish from Adoris, because we don't really need to exile tapped creatures often, because I think we're going to be the aggressor in the majority of these games. But Claim the Precious is still excellent for a cheap way to clear the early creatures out, but Banish, 5 mana to clear something out, is kind of a lot. Not often are we going to be hitting tapped creatures. So I think Banish would be a fine card to cut. Or one of our dorkier 2-drops like Cavalier. Still like the curve here, going up to these big plays. Maybe Nasty End. Nasty End seems fine against, like, if they have a lot of removal. Against, like, the Breaking the Fellowships and stuff. Could be okay. I'm just going to cut the Banish here. Call it a deck there as we head into Game 2 of the final round. Super solid keep here. 2-drop, well, no 3-drop, but there's a 2-drop into another 2-drop, and then Gothmog into Ungle Patrol turn 4 and 5. Pelargir Survivor. Well, I can attack into that with Westfold Rider, but not Cavalier. Westfold Rider is pretty bad against Deceive if they've got one in their hand here. We've seen them cast 1 in game 1, so they have at least 1 copy in the deck. Grishnak, that's just going to be a 1-1 and a 2-2, but that's still very good for them because it clutters up the board. Alright, well, just Survivor into Grishnak is probably enough to stabilize them for a while, to let them just grind out the game with their excellent spells stuff. Oh my god, yeah, this is like the dream curve for them. Survivor into Grishnak into Rohirrim is insane. And I'm not loving how this game's going. I guess Westfold Rider trades are reasonable now, at least. But they're not great. Trade into the 2/2. No attacks. All their mana up to counter this Ungle Patrol. Not much I can do about it. They're never going to counter a Haunt of the Dead Marshes. And I have no other creatures to try to bait out the counter spell. Could try to get them to use a combat trick first. Doubt that happens. Yeah, don't have any good attacks anyway on board. I could trade my 1/1 into their 1/1 or my Gothmog to their 4/3. But I don't want to declare any attacks here, so it's literally just, do I try to wait till they don't have mana up for a counter spell? But that's going to be really hard to do because they have Pelargir Survivors. They have 6 mana here. The counter spell that we saw costs 3. So next turn if they hit a land, they can still play a 4-drop and hold up their counter spell. So I just don't feel like we're ever getting in underneath a counter spell, so I might as well just try to play the Patrol. Alright, and they've got Glorious Gales in their deck too. Which means being in a stable board position like they are here is incredibly bad for us. Probably a matchup we just gotta get on the play and curve out like nobody's business, because our curve was not bad here. It wasn't perfect. We played a 2-drop on 3 instead of another 3-drop, but Grishnak cluttering everything up and locking down the board state was pretty devastating. Ooh. Now hold up. I could Nasty End and cast that right now, but then it's only for 3. But their shields are down from the 3 mana spell that could actually counter an enchantment. I'm just going to hope they don't have that. I'm going to get a little greedy and try to draw 4 cards off of it. Hold Nasty End up on blocks. Well, we know they have a Glorious Gale. They trees into the Glorious Gale, so unless the other card in hand is Saruman's Trickery, then Dawn of a New Age is actually going to be phenomenal here. Dawn of a New Age is probably our best card in this matchup for games like this where they stabilize a bit. Because then that just puts us very far ahead in cards. It's huge. I'm going to draw 4+ extra cards from Nasty End. So I'm going to draw a lot of cards here. I might need a lot of mana to play a bunch of things in one turn. I'm going to slam down the swamp. Drawn to an Eastmark Cavalier. They could get on the mill game plan. They're 1 land away from milling us for 3 a turn with Pelargir Survivor. Alright. We're going to have to find a way to jam in at some point, or we will get milled out. Sam's Desperate Rescue, great draw when they've got a Pelargir Survivor on board. It's also pretty good with the Ungle Patrol, so maybe I do just pick up the Ungle Patrol here. I don't think any of our creatures are particularly good ring bearers right now, though. But it's still only level 1 of the ring. Drop the Cavalier. I guess if I Desperate Rescue, they just counter whatever I rescue with the Glorious Scale anyway. Let's just do that and draw more cards. Guess if I make a Haunt a Ring Bearer, I can start chipping away their 1/1s? No, because Survivor can block that. Yeah, I need Gothmog out to be able to reanimate Haunt and to have Death Touch. So I still am not attacking at all. Okay, they're going to mill through with the Survivor. We got to find a way to kill that. Westfold Rider is not a way to kill that. We've drawn 0 removal spells this game, so we still have our double claim in here to get rid of Survivor. That's pretty big. It's going to mill us even faster, though, but I think I still have to do it. Rosie Cotton Frodo. Cast Rosie right now, get that countered. Frodo next turn. Next turn I could cast Frodo, then Desperate Rescue Rosie. That seems good. There's no way they can let this resolve, because then I start making Cavaliers 3/3s. We're just jamming it out because we can rescue Rosie next turn. So I think we know our plan. Make Cavaliers 3/3s with Rosie. Hope they don't have another Gale in hand. Breaking of the Fellowship. Kill the Gothmog. Okay. That is fine. Our blocks are a little worse right now, but I'm not under that much pressure. Where I'm about to play a ton of creatures next turn. Could even just take 7 here, honestly. If they make a level 4 Ring Bearer, then I'm under a ton of pressure, but I can still double block it with 2/1/1s, so let's just take the 7. Draw an East Farthing Farmer. To find a Frodo. Next turn, everybody's double striking. So play as many creatures as possible. 7 mana, 1 for Frodo, 3 for Farmer, 2 for Rider. It's more creatures than playing Rosie. Okay. Yeah, just jam all of these out, I think. They actually attacked pretty hard, so now we can just attack them. With the 2/2s for sure, and then just make our 1/1 army a 2/2 this turn as well. Hold up Nasty End and a food token, or rescue Rosie immediately. Save that for later. I'll hold up Nasty End or a food. Okay, they're going to go for a kill on a Cavalier, get the Grishnak out of here. I guess this 2 mana could also level up Frodo. There's a lot of stuff we can do with our 2 mana that we're holding up. Next turn's going to be pretty insane for us. If they don't like Fear Fire foes to clear out most of our board. Breaking the Fellowship kills one of these. I probably Nasty End. This creature will be dealt damage. This creature will deal damage, so they're trying to kill Westfold Rider. If I Nasty End the Cavalier, then we keep the Rider. Which is higher power with double strike next turn. Sure. I am down to 12 cards, but they can't afford to spend mana on Survivor. They need to be defending themselves right now. They've got a level 4 Ring-Bearing Lancer. That's pretty spooky. Hits me for 4. I take 8 if I let everything in. I guess my double strike attacks next turn aren't actually that big, so do I try to just get control on the board state again? I mean, it involves... Frodo dies if I kill Lancer, because it's going to make me sack both Frodo and the Haunt. I think it might be reasonable to at least kill the Rohirrim like this. But there goes our best double striking attacker. But, I mean, if I keep it, they just chump there. Block a 1/1, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not that threatening. Guess I go to 8 here. I've got a food and a lifelinking Frodo. You know what? No. I'm gonna go full aggro. Try to keep everybody here. Ring-bearing Frodo, as you do. Desperate Rescue Rosie to immediately add to the damage. Still Frodo. 2 mana to level up Frodo to level 2, and then 3 more to do it again. If Frodo gets in, I will do both of those things. And we buff up a 1/1 to a 2/2, I think. Keep the Haunt on blocks. Do that. Find a Protector of Gondor. Well, now I kind of don't want to level up Frodo, or I don't get to play Protector of Gondor. Really hoping they don't have instant speed bounce again, like Isolation at Orthanc or something for Frodo. I guess I could hedge my bets and just make Frodo lifelink and then cast Gorbag. That way I don't get got really hard by a bounce spell. But level 3 Frodo to level up the ring twice is so spicy. Does feel like a bummer not to just do that. Okay, chump Westfold Rider. Currently taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 if I level up Frodo. Let's level up Frodo once. Oh, they're not even going to let me try to dump more mana into Frodo. Well, that makes things even easier. Then I'll definitely play Gorbag. Alright, still actually in a pretty reasonable spot here, I think. 8 life to 8 life. They've got a level 4 ring-bearing Lancer. That's definitely an issue. But they gotta draw into something else to close this out, or I think we're slightly in the lead. I think I am at the point where I'm double blocking the Rohirrim Lancer with my Haunt and Rosie. I'll still have a legend on board to bring back the Haunt later. Put a stop during our upkeep so we could do that. I do have multiple food tokens to be ahead in life. I've got a Protector of Gondor for even more creatures. I think we're very slightly favored. Really depends on what their 2 cards in hand are. Treason of Isengard back, a Breaking of the Fellowship to draw into that off of the Lancer. It's a sorcery though. But yeah, they can kill basically any one of our creatures with that. And then I'm going to have the Protector of Gondor. Yeah, I'm going to need to just preserve my life total here and reestablish a board state. How is Rosie alive right now? Oh, because it's just, it's not till after combat that it resolves? There we go. I was going to say, because the triggers went and then they resolved and then Rosie was highlighted. It's like, I guess we have to wait a little bit longer for Rosie to finally die. Just killing the Westfold Rider. Killing the Gorbag so we can't reanimate the Haunt. That is fair. Then we just draw for turn. Mordor Muster. Actually hurts more to draw a card than shoot myself, I think, but I kind of have to do it, I think. Okay, another land is very bad. We'll just play Protector of Gondor. Send these in. One trades into a 2/2. The other maybe trades into Rohirrim. I've got another 3/3 on the board. Alright, all they have is a level 4 ring-bearing Pelargir Survivor, and they're playing off the top. So we are slightly favored. Ever so slightly. Fingers crossed they draw some poops. Some duds. What do we have left? What are our 8 cards? Do we heavy scry anything to the bottom? We haven't. So our 8 cards left are 2 copies of Claim the Precious. That would be incredible draws. A Protector of Gondor, also a great draw. Voracious Fellbeast, an absurd draw. And an Esquire of the King. So 5 good draws, 3 lands. And 3 of those good draws are insane. Claim the Precious or Voracious Fellbeast would be absurd. And that's 3 of the 8 cards left. So 3 insane draws, 1 pretty good of Protector of Gondor, and one just decent with Esquire of the King. Actually kind of like this a lot than our position here. Let's eat the food. Draw for turn. Minas Tirith. It's one of our 3 lands. Now there's only 2 lands left in the deck. So if I attack with everybody, they take 5. Block the 1/1. They might have Deceive in hand or something here. So if I do this, it's like sack a soldier to deal 2, basically. If they don't have Deceive. If they do have Deceive and I just attack with these, they can't kill anything. I guess I'll just attack with these. I'm only getting... I guess I'm getting 2 more points of damage the other way. Because they'll just kill the 1/1, but the 1/1 will be dead forever after that. Alright, please mill my lands. I don't want to draw more. They milled one of the lands, so now there's 1 land left out of the 4 cards. We've got 1 turn to kill them, but 2 cards that win immediately, Claim the Precious and Voracious Fellbeast. So we have a 50-50. Got a coin flip on winning this game. It's gotta be Claim the Precious or Fellbeast. I guess depends what they play here. I guess we were already at like a 40% chance of just insta-winning. If we top-decked Claim or Voracious Fellbeast, I think that would have won last turn. Alright! Claim the Precious. If they have nothing in hand, they're dead here. We have to make our 1/1 the Ring Bearer because we need to be able to attack them for 5, and if they make our library empty, then we can't attack with our Ring Bearer. It's Deceive the Messenger or bust. That is their 1 out this game. Alright. Really, really close game there, but we do get the 2-0 victory in the final round, get a victory in all 3 matches. Our opponent played really tight there, pretty nice deck, and very well played from them, but we just drew some spicier cards. We just have a lot of high card quality in this deck, and it's going to find us another 3-win run. Let's take another look at the deck, talk about our overperformers and underperformers, if there was anything that was incredible, anything that was terrible. I don't think I really nasty ended that much. That might be an underperformer. But I didn't hate anything. I also didn't love anything. I don't think anything was a huge overperformer. I guess War of the Last Alliance, we drew it quite often, and it was quite frequently some great card advantage. So that played pretty well. And Dawn of a New Age played pretty well as well, but those are like rares and mythics, so we kind of already knew those were going to be great. I think everything just did its job. Everything played well. Nothing super surprised us or super disappointed us. Just a super solid deck and a super great run, grabbing 2,500 gems, 2 play-in points, and 6 packs of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. But that is going to end today's draft. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and my YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link or the join button in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.